Electroids, welcome back to the channel, and today we are here with The Sims 4, and I have been thinking, a lot of you don't have The Sims 4 or are brand new to The Sims 4 and might be wanting to be playing the game. So I'm going to be starting out with how do I build stuff, how do I make my build look a bit better. And before we get started, I'm going to start out with it immediately depends on what packs you have. If you just have the base game, skip this step. It's not going to be a problem. But if you're a builder and you like having aesthetic stuff, I would highly suggest choosing the season depending on what type of build you want. It also depends on what type of world they're in. So as an example, if they're in Willow Creek, they might have a bit more of a suburban look. If they're in Oasis Springs, for example, they may have a bit more of a modern look or a deserty look. Newcrest, I would highly suggest if you're a first-time builder not building in Newcrest because there's no lots, there's no people. There are some that you might be able to see, but if you're a first-timer, you would only have these three builds, these three worlds. So I'm going to go into Willow Creek because that's one of my favorite lots. I like playing in Willow Creek, and I'm going to go to the Bargain Bend. Keep in mind, this is going to be for starter homes. This is 2,000 simoleons. So your sim is going to have 18,000 simoleons when they move in. And if you want to do a starter home and you don't know how to do cheats, that's completely fine. Going to immediately go into build home, and you're probably going to want, if you're really new and you've never seen any videos for The Sims, you're probably going to want to build something big, but then you're going to realize that this is a lot of money and it's a lot of space and you might be a little overwhelmed. So this is the undo button, and that, what you just saw now, is the redo button, which, if you don't know, is Control Y to redo and Control Z on your laptop to undo. Okay, so let's say you decide you want your house to be this big. You make the house, you probably maybe put a roof down, you don't know. In order to, let's say you don't know how to make your roof look better, you just do this and you grab, I'm going to filter this through base game. You can filter this using the little drop down menu and drop up menu, which is the filter items, and you can filter it through packs and custom content. I'm going to choose base game. You might choose maybe like a nice drawer like this, and then you might, go in. If you click here, you click the down arrow, this will bring you into it. If you bring it up, it'll bring it out. But obviously, when you look at this, it's kind of boring. It's not really interesting. So we are going to undo with Control Z. And instead, let's click on it. You're going to see, if you click page down, it's going to page down. You're going to see these 4 arrows, right? You're going to see these 4 arrows, and then you're going to see a lot of stuff. In this little line where you can see the lower platform and raised platform, I wouldn't use that if you're a first-time builder. I would highly suggest just leaving it until you've kind of gotten used to build mode. You can copy the style, you can move the house anywhere you want. If you click select or you click H on the laptop, it's just going to cancel it. If you click this, it's going to, if you click rotate, it's going to flip it. You can use the caret keys to flip your builds. But first things first, how would I do that? I would highly suggest clicking on, let's say you just wanted a simple home, but you built a box and you want it to look interesting. Click this and raise the platform to your desired length. Now, obviously, don't raise it like this or go crazy and go underneath, because then that is not going to look good. I would highly suggest making it look somewhat interesting. Now, what I find interesting is doing bump outs. Bump out is setting up the design. How do you want the house to look? It's going to need a bathroom, a bedroom, maybe a dining room, a kitchen, and maybe anything else you want to add. So first things first, what I'm going to do is you're going to click the walls and empty rooms. You're going to scroll down until you see flat square, and you're going to place it You're going to use the third one in the front and you're going to move it back. You're going to move it back, and that way you're going to take the left arrow and you're going to move it. You can click the copy, move it over to the side, and boom, you suddenly have a lot more. Now obviously this might look a little confusing, so you don't have to do that. I wouldn't suggest, if you want to do a bump out, I would highly suggest going 1 2 1 1 2 in front, and then 1 2 3 in the side, and then completing it to make the box, and then that just makes the house look so much better. Now if you click the move house, which is you can choose to move the lot or move the house. We're going to move the house back, and there we go. We've got a little bit more room to work with. Next up, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to click the flat square. You're going to want to do this, bring it back 1, and then you're going to want to click this, and you're going to want to go with sturdy stairs, which is the first option. You're going to click the arrow key until it is facing the front, and you're going to do this. Now the eyedropper, you can click or you can use E, and it will do that. You can use that. If you want to save money, you can delete the underside of the stairs, and that will give you 300, but that's only if you think you're not going to do this. On top of that, you can also, to save a little bit of space and money, move the stairs in, and that will give you an extra set. Now since we're focusing on the front and not really the back, let's do the layout. So let's say this right here is the entrance. Let's say your sim needs a bathroom, so you would maybe do something like this. And then maybe they need a bedroom, so you do something like this. Oh, but there's not enough room for both a bedroom and a living room. How do we work around this? Well, we use a bump out. Bump it out 1 2 maybe 4. Bring it out like this, and suddenly the outside looks much more interesting. That way you might have enough more room to fit in, like this could be a kitchen, this could be a dining and living room, this could be a bedroom, and this could be a bathroom. Now obviously if you don't want to do that, you could always use the sledgehammer, which is K on the keyboard. You could delete it. You could delete stuff like that, and maybe you decide to flip it around. Instead of that, this is the bedroom and the bathroom, and then that just leaves a lot more space for you to work with. Now, obviously, as we can tell, there is a little bit of an issue here. The bedroom is a bit small, everything is a bit small, but since this is a starter home, that is fine. If you want your outside to look good, but you don't care about the inside, here's what you do. Instead of clicking the gabled roof, I would highly suggest choosing the hipped roof. You want to do this, place it down, and then click one of the arrows and drag it to the end of each side, and that's just going to make it look better. Now, you want to click this edge roof. See this little arrow here? You're going to want to click that, and you're going to want to bring it out by 1. That just makes it look much more interesting. Now, this is where things are a little bit different. Now, you could just choose to go with the half-hipped roof, click the carrots until it is at your desired space, pull it back so that it connects with the roof, pull it down 1, and boom, you have something a little bit interesting. But if you don't want to do something like that, you can always click the gabled roof, click this, pull it to your desired one, and then it looks somewhat more interesting. I like the half-hipped roof. I'm going to do that, pull it in, pull it back, and I just think that looks much better. Now, if you want, you can choose whatever roof you want. That is up to you. You can modify the roof to be bigger or smaller depending on how it is. I'm gonna go with this. This top arrow, you can pull it up or pull it down as you want. So then next, you're gonna wanna click the roof patterns, and this is going to bring a lot of them up. You have glass ones. Now, I wouldn't suggest doing this unless you're building a greenhouse, but this is something you can choose. You can choose to look around and see what the houses look like. Now again, this is going to depend on the type of world that you chose. Since I chose Willow Creek, if you chose something like this, it might not look right. It might not look right. Or something like this, it might not look right with the rest of the houses. And if you want them to match, I would highly suggest either. So I'm going to use the scalloped pine roof, and that's just going to make my house look a little bit better. Now this next step is dependent on how detailed you want or how much you care, but you're going to go to roofs, you're going to go to roof trims, you're going to click, and this is going to bring up multiple options. This is going to bring up 7 options for you, where you can do it really thick, you can do it like really thick, really thin, you can have it finalized, but I'm going to choose the angled roof trim. That's just going to put it underneath, and it's going to make it look a lot more interesting. But I also use the squared roof trim a lot as well. I'm not going to do that just because this doesn't really look good with the house. Next up, what you're going to want to do is you could always put in a chimney. Sorry about that. Now, I'm looking at this layout and I'm thinking, this doesn't really look good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this wall. You can drag the sledgehammer and it will delete the wall that is there. And instead, I'm going to go back to walls and empty rooms, click wall tool, which is B, and I'm just going to drag this here. Now, if you want it to be a bit bigger, do not worry. You can always click on a separate room and click to drag it out or drag it in. I'm going to drag it out by 1 so that there is a little bit more room for a bedroom. And that way we can put maybe a dining room or a living room somewhere for us to use. And since I kind of want the bedroom to be there, I'm going to click the room tool and I'm going to just make 1, 2, 3. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that out again. But in this, you could do something like this, but that looks a lot bigger than the house. So you're going to undo that and you're going to click half walls, click the room tool. And this is dependent on you, but I'm going to choose this. Now, this is for someone who may be a little bit more advanced. You're going to click roof sculptures. You're going to scroll down. Keep in mind, this is just in base game. And you're going to choose whichever one you want. You will have to scroll down a bit past all of the plants. What I'm going to do is I'm going to choose this. Now, since that is a bit bigger, that does look a bit weird. So let's maybe shrink this down. And you can choose to move it. And you can move it over by 1 or 2. I'm going to move it over just so that it looks more centered. I like when things look centered. That is up to you if you want it to be that way. So once again, you can choose this and it's not going to fit. So just kind of look around until you find one that you think is going to fit, because then that looks much better. Next, how do you do the outside? Well, there's going to be a multitude of ways. There's going to be paint, wallpaper, tile, paneling, masonry, rocker stone, siding, miscellaneous, and show all. Now, typically I would go for siding for Willow Creek because this brings up a lot of the wood textures. I'm going to choose the simple siding. It's pretty cheap. And then Once you click this mini sidebar, it's going to pull up a lot of swatches. And how I'm going to do this is I think I am in the mood for a blue Suburban. So I'm going to choose this light panel. And if you click shift, and here's a little hack. If you don't want to like do this, drag it all out, you can choose to click shift and it will paint that area so that you don't have to. But let's not lie, this does look a little off. So I'm going to try this. If you're going to want to paint, click on the roof with the siding that you have clicked. Click that and it's going to paint it. Now, obviously, doing just this makes the house kind of look, it looks okay, but it doesn't look the best. So you can choose to stay in the side paneling. You can choose to go with the Scully's office, and you can choose to go with something like this to maybe diversify it. Or you can choose to go to masonry and scroll through the base game to find a cheaper, more prettier version. I'm gonna go with the brickery with corner accent. And that's just gonna give me a bit of a brick texture. No, don't worry, if you think you've made a mistake, just click the undo button and it will fix it. I actually think this doesn't look very good, so I think what I'm gonna do is I am going to change it. I'm going to go to the no, not this one, the Scully's office. I'm going to click the one that matches the paint, and I'm just going to go around all of this and just choose some of the bump outs. Now, since I am choosing a wallpaper that gives a natural kind of edge to it, now that looks a little bit better, but it still looks plain. We're going to stay in masonry, and instead we are going to, I'm going to choose the Industry Matters brick facade, and I'm going to go to this chimney right here. See, I'm going to click shift, and I am going to make it look like an actual chimney. Okay, that's very important if you want it to look nice. And in looking at it, I think this can be lowered just a bit. Now, you might want to check your roofs, because when you lower it, it might not look right. It might not be connected. Check your roofs to make sure they're connected. And if they are, just maybe adjust the others as necessary. I'm going to move this down one, move this down one as well. And then that way, actually, I'm going to keep that up because this looks much better. Now, if you're looking at this area, you're going to probably think, how is that going to work? How is that going to go well? Well, if you go to the build part of the build mode, you can choose stair railings, gates, stairs and ladders, fences, and such. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to click fences. You're going to want to click place fence by drawing. And what that's going to do is it's just going to draw it based on how your sim, based on how you draw. You can click replace fences, but I like to do place fences by drawing. And since this is here, we're going to choose the wooden horizontal fencing. Just going to draw to the end, draw, 1, 1, 2, and that's just going to make it look a little bit more interesting because it's not just plain. But the stairs don't really match at all. You're going to click stair railings and you're going to choose out of the base game. Again, the horizontal aluminum railing system matches this, so that's what I'm going to choose. But let's take a look at this. The outside looks very boring, and your sim can't even get into the house, and we have not even started on the inside. Remember, you want your house to be cheap, but not super cheap. You're going to want to click on doors. I would suggest clicking on a door that has a glass one, but that is up to you. I'm going to click the perfect. For me, I'm going to do the exterior door with multi-pan windows. And this is just going to be a two-sided door. And you can tell the difference because of the green squares. There's two sides to this door, whereas the Perfect Pain door only has one. And in fact, I think you're going to choose the Perfect Pain door just because I like how it looks. And obviously, as we look at this, it looks a little boring. So you're going to want to click on Windows, and this is where you have a multitude of selections. You can choose multiple different versions. It's up to you what you want to choose. With the recent patch, you got pretty cheap windows, but those look pretty plain. I'm going to go a little bit more expensive and choose the Bunker Panther. Just because this looks slightly better, and you're going to want to place these in places that you believe would make the most sense for your sim. Like maybe I would place one here, but that kind of looks really tiny, so I'm going to get rid of that, and instead I'm going to choose the kitty corner. You can choose to move it up or down. See that red? It means you can't place it without cheats, so I'm not going to choose that. Instead, I'm going to choose the tall order. And what this is going to do is it's going to add some eaves to the sides of your windows, and that just looks a lot better. Looking at it, it's still kind of plain, so you can click the eyedropper tool. I like a lot of windows, and if you're looking here, it's not totally right or center. You can choose different windows, but if you try to put a tall or medium window on short wall height, medium wall height, or tall wall height, it's gonna look a little weird. I would suggest keeping your first house to the short wall height, because if you do the medium or tall wall height, it might look like a 2-story house when it's only a 1-story. So keep to the short walls so that you can keep the prices down. I'm going to scroll down, and I'm once again going to filter by base game, and I'm just going to scroll until I find a window that I particularly gravitate towards or really like. I'm going to choose the Almost Secure Safety window and just place this in the middle. Now, you might be looking at this and think, what is this? This is the mailbox. This is how your Sims are going to pay their bills, check the bill's information, sort by junk mail. But your sim is going to need another thing. So go to Objects by Room, click on the kitchen, click Trash Cans, and you're going to want to click the wheeled trash bin. And you're going to want to place that down somewhere and keep it for later. It's important. Since we're focusing on the outside, let's click here, and I'm going to click Stone. This is going to bring up a multitude of stone options for the base game. I'm going to do something like this. You could do something simple, or you couldn't. It's up to you. I'm going to go to, but it's still, you could do that, and you could just do this, and you could be finished and say, okay, bish, bash, bosh, I'm done. And this is okay, but let's move this out of the way. You're going to want to go to Shrubs, and you can choose however you want. You could, if you want, you could go a little bit simpler, maybe something like this, but obviously you can't place it in between. That's because there is no sheets. I'm going to undo that, and instead I'm going to choose the low-lying pale window, and that's just going to look a little off. Here's how you combat that. Click on the plant, click Alt, and this is just rotate it using the left mouse until it's right. Now, obviously, if you don't know cheats, this might look a little weird, but it is better than nothing. You're going to want to repeat that with the low-lying pale yellow flowers until you kind of make it look a little bit more interesting. Now, look at that. You can't place it unless it's in a specific. And this does go off the plot a little bit, but that is fine. You can still make it look really, really nice. See that? It's not letting me place it no matter where I place it. So I'm going to have to move the mailbox maybe, and then see what I can do. It's letting me place it here, but it's not letting me place it anywhere else. Just keep moving until you find a way. And remember, this is without cheats. It's gonna look weird. It's gonna look off. Try to get it as close as you can as possible so that it just kind of looks a little bit more decorated. I'm gonna choose this and I'm gonna modify it a little bit, just move it closer, as close as I can. That way it looks a little bit more decorated. You're gonna wanna repeat this until you get a nicer looking house. It's gonna conflict and it's gonna be a little annoying. That's fine. It's gonna conflict, it's gonna be annoying. That's fine. See, this is when I would turn on the cheat, but we're trying not to cheat here. So what would I do in that situation? Well, you could always just bring it out, but what I'm gonna do is I am going to click the flowers, click the sunrose bush, actually no, shrubs, and click the bulbous bush. That's not gonna fit. Click the unkept, click whatever you can find to try and make it look somewhat filled. Now, obviously that looks a little off. So I am going to move this back a little bit, and I'm actually going to get rid of this third bush by selling it. I'm going to click the unkept shrubbery and boom. Now do the mailbox. I'm going to move this closer, as close to this as possible, without changing it, without it going red. And then here's what I would do. Click the terrain tools, click the brush size, and then you're just going to want to drag this depending on where you want it. I'm going to click the smarter starter soil, and then I'm just going to go around the path and the bushes just to give it that like planted look. What you're also going to want to do is you're going to want to do this around the house, just around the edges of the foundation of the house. That way it's going to look as if it was hand built, like it was built by a human. And if you mess up, that's okay. It's fine to mess up. Keep doing this until it is all around the house. Now, since this is just a starter home, it's a little bit easier, but the bigger the house, the longer it will take. Have patience. It's not going to go fast, or at least as fast as this. And then that looks a lot better, but it still kind of looks off. So maybe we need a tree. Click outdoor plants, click on trees, and then choose. And then you're gonna want, since you have base game, choose a tree of your decision. I like going for the bigger trees just because it makes the plot look full. It makes it look like it's a little bit more interesting, and you're gonna place it down. Again, you're gonna want to do terrain tools, choose this, choose the smarter soil, go up one and just one click, and it looks much better. But you may be thinking it still looks a little boring. Click outdoor plants, click shrubs, and maybe just click on the starter hedge and boom, 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 boom. I'm going to do that until it gets to the chimney. That makes the house look a lot better, but it's still a little bit plain. You can still spice it up a bit. Click on wall sculptures. There's not going to be a lot of options. Click the window box of superiority and just, it's not going to be able to place under places that have that hedge on it. So try and not do that. Since it is there, I'm going to move it up one. It's going to be very high and it's not really going to make sense. So I think I'm going to sell this and try again with a different with a different window. Click on short windows if you are doing it with short. I'm going to click the octo pane and I'm just going to place it there. But that still looks a little bit off, right? So I'm going to change it to the almost secure window. And then because these hedges are at the bottom, you don't need to place a window box. It already looks pretty nice. You've done the outside of the house, but now let's move into the inside. As you can tell, your sim can get into the hallway, the entrance, but they can't get into any of the other rooms. Click doors. Click doors. You're going to want to click the doors. Scroll down until you get to the frames. Depending on what it is, you can choose 1 or 2. I'm going to choose this one. And you're just going to want to do this for the kitchen and the living room. Place the doors wherever you think. I'm going to choose wooden 4-panel door. Now you can choose to place this door in the bedroom if you want it to be an ensuite, or you can choose it on the outside. Because the fireplace is right here, I'm going to move the door over to the bedroom. That way it's an ensuite and it's really, really dark here. Click objects by room, click dining room, lights, and I would suggest choosing the smaller version of the super of the subtle saucer light, called the super subtle saucer light. 1, 2, if you like it bright or not, that's up to you. I like it pretty bright, but it still looks very plain. It looks very dull. Click build, click wall patterns, and because you're trying to keep the costs down, because keep in mind this is a starter home, I'm going to click paint. And there's a multitude of versions of paint in the base game that you can use. Since you want to keep the costs down, I'm going to choose the basic darks with white trim, and I'm just going to go for like a nice subtle orange. Now that is up to you if you want to go with that. And choose something different for each of the rooms just to mix it up a bit. And it makes it feel a lot more personalized to your sim or you. I like pastels, I like lighter colors, that is up to me. Now, this is just for like dining and living, bedroom, kitchen, but this little square over here is the bathroom. And since you enter through here, we're going to turn the camera like this. Now, you're going to want to click tile for the wallpaper, and I would suggest keeping it below the 5, keep it to the 4 or the 2s. The glossy belled subway tile, I believe, is in an update, but we're going to leave that out for now. Instead, I'm going to choose the Pixel Perfect. I'm going to choose white just because I like it. You're going to click floor and ceiling patterns, click tile, and I'm going to choose the plain Jane, except it looks a little off to me. So I'm going to move it out and choose the grounded tiles. Now, some tiles match each other, some don't. Just look around for the ones that match. Do this. You're going to want to get a floor for each one. Now, since I chose a white tile, I'm going to choose the first one, limber, lumber, traditional hardwoods, and I'm just going to put this around the house. Notice how I left the bedroom without wood. That's because I'm going to do carpet. Now, in the base game, you only come with 5 carpet tiles. I'm going to choose the plush. I'm going to choose the trumpet vine embossed carpet, click white, and boom, there we go. You've got it a bit decorated. Now you have about 10,000 simoleons left. Let's move on and let's do the kitchen. There's going to be a multitude of kitchens. Since the archway is here, you're going to want to do this at the other end. Click refrigerator. Now there's going to be a multitude of kitchens and it's dependent. This is a starter home, so don't go with something expensive. Stay within the 3. I'm going to choose the Crisponics Budget Deluxe. When click that, click white, and I'm going to put it at the end because I like my stuff at the end. Click counters, click bland co-competency counter, and click based on what you think is going to look nice. I'm going to go with this, though I don't think that looks nice, but I can still change that. I'm going to go with the gray. But wait, your Sims still need to cook. They still need a stove. So I'm going to get rid of the side, and instead I'm going to place the Yum cooker because that is very noticeably smaller. And then I'm going to click sink, click the Ovum bath sink, but that's not exactly kitchen sink. Click pure simplicity sink, boom. Except that doesn't really leave a lot of space. So you can actually sell this and you can change the type of counter. You can change it to a right end piece, an outer corner piece, a tile, an inner corner, and a left end piece. I'm going to choose an inner corner, and this is what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to choose the tile, click that next to the outer corner, but then I'm going to choose the right end piece because let me show you what it looks like when you choose just this. It looks a little more cramped. Now, if you want to go with that style, you can, but that's not what I want to go with. And there we go. Now, here's where things might change a little bit. It still looks a bit bland, a bit empty, but they do have the basics for a kitchen. Click cabinets. Click the matching cabinet if you can, and do half tile above the fridge and the stove. And this brings on to my next one. What happens if you've already placed it down? Click the design tool or R to bring up the design tool and change it to the desired look. That way it looks much better and you don't have to keep going back and forth. Now here's the thing, you also want to put an inner corner with an inner corner. Match it up to the same if you can. It's going to look a little off, it might look a little cramped, but that's fine. Now, this is very important. You're going to want to get a smoke alarm. Don't put it over the stove, otherwise if your sim starts a fire, it might burn. This is a little cramped, but it still fills in the space and it looks much better. So we're going to do that, and then what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the stove right here. Click stoves, scroll down a bit until you get the Noblesse. It's 140 simoleons. Take that and put it above the stove. That's going to make it look a lot more cluttered. Because this is a kitchen, it is going to be dependent, so I'm going to choose dining room. Click dining tables, and because this is base game, the reclaimed wood dining table and the around sun table came in updates, but they're pretty expensive. I'm going to choose the Martian Invader. It's 300 simoleons, but it's a little bit cheaper. I'm going to move it to the end, and let's click on dining chairs. Now, this is dependent on you, but I'm going to do the Sooner or Later Contemporary Dining Chair. When the chairs place on, that means that your sim can actually walk past it. You can put it on all 4 sides if it's allowed, but if I try to move it, you can't. So this would be the best place. Again, it still looks a little bit plain. So go back to dining room, click misc decorations, and then just scroll down until you find like a fine bowl of plastic or something like that. Fine bowl of fruit. Put it in the center, and that just decorates it up a little bit. But it still looks a bit plain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay in Misc. I'm going to click Raw Utensil Tool. I'm going to put this in the corner. That way it just looks as if it's actually lived in. It looks lived in. It looks nice. Maybe some paper towels in the corner. And then that leaves one tile. Remember, your Sims can cook on a corner tile, but they need at least one tile, one countertop in order to actually make it. Now, if you pay attention, you notice there's two different types. There's the regular counter, and then there's the island counter. Now, your Sims can cook on an island counter if it is not up again. Now, your Sims can cook on an island counter if it is not being blocked. If it has anything on it, your Sim is not going to be able to cook on it. They can cook on a corner counter. It's just going to be a bit difficult. So I would suggest staying with the stuff like that. Let's move over to the, let's move over to the small dining room. Now, your Sims already have a cramped dining room here, but for time purposes, I'm going to use this. This is a bit boxy, so I'm going to pull this. I'm going to keep it the same, actually. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this out of the way. Move this over by 1. Move all of this stuff over because that's there. Now notice, and then I'm going to sell these 2 hedges. Now notice it's still left a terrain. Click Terrain Tools, click Erase Tool, and just kind of erase that small little part. Go back to the Paint tool, size it down a bit, and use the trim. Remember, this is, do the hedge as well. Remember, you want it to look nice. It looks pretty big. I would highly suggest choosing a bit of a smaller lot if you're going to go for something like this, but since it's a big lot, that's just fine. I'm going to go down, I'm going to go back in, and I'm going to click Objects by Room, Living Room, Fireplaces, and in the base game, you only get 4 fireplaces. Because this is a red brick fireplace, I'm going to choose a red brick 1. It's not exact. I'm going to choose a red fireplace. Now this is when things could get expensive. Click televisions and see how I only have 6,000 simoleons left. I'm going to choose a really nice TV, and that's just going to fill in that little space so that you don't have to scurry around for something to use. Click Sofas and Love Seats, and this is all you get in the base game, but that's going to be fine. I'm going to choose the size sensitive sofa, and just to make it a little bit more better, I'm going to choose a red. Make it look a little bit better, I'm going to choose a red one. Your Sims can still get past this as long as it's not the red. If it's red, it means your Sims cannot get past. Now there are also love seats, such as the size sensitive love seat. I'm going to click that, and I'm just going to place this here. And that's just going to fill the corner a little bit better. Though I kind of don't like this little square corner here. Click Build, click Walls, and it's going to automatically choose the Wall tool. You can do corner tiles. Delete that, match it up with the rest. And notice how the carpet is intertwined. Click the eyedropper tool and click whatever it is you need to fix it up. Your sim can still get past, but it's going to be a little bit difficult, and it might look a little off. It might look a bit off, it might not. That's up to you how much or little you want it to be. I'm going to do the 3 just so I can kind of have an excuse and make it look nice. Now, usually I would put like 3 here, but for the sake of saving money, I'm not going to. Gonna fix up the terrain a little bit. And then notice how there is no windows in the bath. Your bedroom and bathroom are windowless. Choose windows. And I'm gonna choose the short classic cement, the short classic casement, just because this is a bathroom. You really don't want, you wouldn't want a big window into the bathroom if it doesn't have curtains. I'm going to choose the classic casement, but it's a bit bigger, except that looks a little odd. That's fine if you don't want to line it up. I would suggest putting it in the middle, but that's up to you. Anyways, so this living room still looks a little bit odd. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to objects by room, click rugs, and then you can choose to... And then this is where danger could happen. When you place a rug near a fireplace, it has a chance of setting a flame. Now that is fine if that's what you want. I'm going to move this forward a little bit, and that's going to create a tiny gap. It still looks pretty empty, but that's fine. We don't want to overspend. Save the decorating for later if you have it. We're going to move into the bathroom because that's another thing that is really, really important. Click bathroom, showers, and you're only going to get this one. I would highly suggest staying with the first option. Place in like a corner, toilets. Now this is all you're going to get. Don't get the most expensive. Remember, you're trying to save money. Click sinks, choose the first one, and there. You technically have the basics. You can do the decorating later. Move into the bedroom, click beds, and I would suggest a double bed, but you can do a 1. You can do like a single bed if you want, but I'm going to do a double bed because I just like having a double bed. The Mod Pod Twin Sleeper, depending on the size and expense of the bed, it might be a little uncomfortable for your Sims. It might be a little bit uncomfortable for your Sims to be in. I'm going to choose this, but I can see that it is a little bit off. I'm going to move this over by 1. I'm going to switch the sides and I'm going to put it here. Now, as you can tell, there is no room for a dresser because in the base game, you don't have enough. You don't have a single tile. You do, but it's really expensive and it takes up 2 tiles. So since this room is so small, I'm going to get rid of it and I'm going to get a smaller bed. The metal framed single bed came in a patch update, but since we still need our budget, I'm just going to do that there. Dressers can really help if you don't know how to change your Sims outfits. Click on the dresser, choose change outfit, and it's just there. It is technically considered decoration since your Sims don't necessarily need it, but that's fine. I'm going to do the Enigma dresser, and it looks a bit banged up, it looks a bit worn down, but that's fine. Okay. Technically, your Sims house is completely finished. It has all the necessities, but if you want your house to look a bit better, you're going to want to decorate. Since this place here has a little bit of space, I'm going to go to study, I'm going to click desks, and I'm just going to choose the lacquered up console, and I'm going to try to get a computer. Computers are really expensive. They're 800 simoleons. So you can choose to go more expensive with the Juliet desk chair, but I'm going to go a bit cheaper and choose the Kindermate chair, and this is going to bring your Sims money down a lot. So make sure you have all of the basic necessities: kitchen, fun, bedroom, bathroom, dining room, and I added in the computer just in case my Sim might need it for their job. But there's one thing I forgot. Your Sim needs an indoor trash can. Now, this is going to be a little bit difficult. I'm just going to try and sneak it using the Alt key. I'm going to try and sneak it into the corner as much as possible. And there. Your Sim is done. The house is finished. And it is left. If you want to download this house, if you want to save your house to the gallery so that you can use it later, click Save Lot. And I would highly suggest, and it's going to do like the lot type where it is. It's going to show you a preview of the house, what it looks like, and it's going to be pretty cheap once you re-download it. It's going to put residential value, and then it's going to ask you how many bedrooms is in the house, how many toilets. I did 1. You can choose to share it to the gallery or save it to lot, and then you can also name it. I'm going to choose to name it Starter Home for Starters. And I'm going to share the lot to the gallery. Now, what this is going to mean is that it's going to upload for everyone to see instead of just for you to see. On top of this, it automatically saves into your library so that you can use it again. And it's going to give you a notification that it's been saved to the gallery. There you go. Your house is finished. And your Sim is ready to join a career, make money, change their lives, get a tattoo. It's all up to you. But anyways, guys, I hope you liked today's video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and that subscribe button. Don't forget to comment down below. And I will see you Electroids in the next episode.